Ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to welcome you to this session. We are going to talk about alcohol and substance misuse. It is something that is affecting most of us in society. We have children, our own, our relatives, we are guardians to some, we've read about some. Some are students, some are teenagers, some are adolescents, some are adults in workplaces that are abusing alcohol, some are abusing different substances. Some it's a combination. This is affecting very many people. In fact, it's a challenge for the whole world. Different countries have got to make colossal sums of money in their budgets being set aside to tackle issues to do with alcohol and drug misuse. So as we come here, I take this opportunity to welcome each one of you to what we are going to hear from this video, and possibly please remember to share with someone what you are going to get from this. Subscribe to my channel. In my introductory part, I just wish to let you know alcohol and substance misuse is the excessive use of alcohol or drugs of any other substance. Listening can lead to a solution to the child's or employee's health, social well-being, education, security, and other outputs that become a sustainable positive. Listening will help both a parent, guardian, or employer to detect on time alcohol and drug misuse, put in place interventions, and support a child or employee with alcohol and substance misuse disorders. This is what I'm saying. If you, the employer, you listen to that employee who is underperforming simply because he's abusing alcohol, and you have already identified that, then you may save a situation in time than terminating the employee and he lives for oblivion. Remember, a healthy home or workplace are safe and productive. How do you detect alcohol in a child or in an employee? You will see bloodshots in the eyes of someone who is abusing alcohol. There'll be change in appetite. The person may lose appetite depending on what one is abusing, or may gain appetite. For example, if you take so much alcohol, for some people, they tend to lose appetite. In fact, each time you give them food, they prefer the substance they're abusing. Others who are taking substances like opium will tend to develop a high appetite. They'll want food all the time, and as a result, there'll be a lot of gaining of weight. There'll be sleeping changes, their sleeping patterns will change, and that can tell you something is amiss. Grooming issues will occur if a person has been combing the hair and putting on the tie and being in a very clean shirt. You'll notice the person has started deteriorating in the way they groom. There also may be totally sudden loss of weight in those who are not eating well. Impaired coordination may be realized. Somebody staggers as they try to balance themselves when they're abusing alcohol and substances. Now, we have effects of alcohol and substance misuse. You'll get that in this video we are using the words misuse, use, and abuse interchangeably. When one is misusing alcohol and substance, there's low productivity at the workplace, leading to inefficiency and ineffectiveness. So if you are expecting certain profits to be realized, then by the employee abusing alcohol and substances, definitely the performance will come down. If something was to be done in time, then they do it in a much longer time. As a result, there's inefficiency and ineffectiveness. Who is losing? The employer. And at the end of the day, the employee loses by performance appraisal not being one that meets targets. So he is not rewarded when it comes to rewards of performing employees. Another effect is loss of income due to failure to meet performance targets because the employee may be terminated. Insecurity both at home, at the workplace, because you end up even not feeling secure by staying with a child who is abusing alcohol and drugs. You end up being insecure by sitting next to an employee who is, not well groomed and smelling of alcohol and substances. Then the person can pinch even from your pocket. It doesn't matter whether you are on CCTV camera or not. Their manners deteriorate. It's a demotivation. It's another effect. One feels demotivated, feeling of not being interested in work. Then there is family integration also. It's an effect of alcohol and substance. What do I mean by the family disintegrating? You are not home on time. You are the parent. When do you undertake your duties of being a husband, of being a father, of being the family person? So that's the disintegration we're talking about. And it is all round. It affects the youth, it affects the adults. We also have the weight. One loses weight, it's an effect of alcohol. One may gain a lot of weight. Dreams get lost because if you had dreamt to be, for example, the most successful employee, due to abuse of alcohol, you end up being with low performance, you don't meet expectations. They review your performance, you're not meeting expectations. As a result, you get demotivated, and then your dreams of being the head of department, they get lost. We also have the effect in teenage pregnancies. When you are drunk, sex can be free, and then you end up conceiving. Children are conceived most of the time in the same way. As a result of that early pregnancy, which you did not expect, it becomes an effect of alcohol and substance abuse. We have loss of important roles to you, a parent, and to the student, and even to the workers. We also have school dropouts, indulgence in crime. Many of them will end up raping, stealing, ensuring they indulge in activities that are contrary to law. And that is as a result of misuse of alcohol and drugs. They're in denial. For the young girls, they end up going for abortion because the teenage pregnancy came in just too early. We get health complications, when you make love freely, there are related risks that come with that. One may end up getting hepatitis B. They may get other sexually transmitted diseases, which we may not be able to name all now, but amongst other diseases, including staggering and falling. It is a health issue because you get injured. And that is the society all countries in the world are trying to tackle. Another effect of alcohol and substance abuse, ladies and gentlemen, is the pain the person who is abusing goes through. And also, you, the parent who is around that person, it is painful to you. It is stressful to you. You, the worker who is around that person, you really feel you are not yourself because you saw the person when he was still a performer, and now you are seeing your colleague who is now having deteriorating performance, doesn't groom well. It's not he, the person you knew. Respect has gone down. Ladies and gentlemen, another effect is on the budget. We have to spend colossal sums of money at individual household level, at country level, budgeting for alcohol and substance misuse. Many end up in hostel, many end up in counseling homes. Needless to mention, we have buried some because of abusing alcohol and drugs. So death is one of the effects. What are some of the factors leading to misuse of alcohol and substances? These factors are very many. Is everybody present in the audience? Are you with me? We are going now to look at factors leading to misuse of alcohol and substances. If one performs negatively at the workplace, they tend to withdraw. And those are some of the factors that lead to one resorting to a plan B. And that plan B can be to misuse alcohol or to misuse drugs. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the truth. Don't take it for granted. We also have peer pressure. You know, when people are growing up at different stages of life, they have to associate with a certain age. They've got to associate with a certain group. Now, that age group of yours, the people you associate with, end up being your peer. And they can put pressure on you to start abusing alcohol, to start abusing certain substances. And those are the factors contributing to one starting to misuse alcohol and drugs. We also have changes in the brain functioning. Because you've tested, now your brain is not functioning well, you end up, because of those changes, you end up resorting to taking so much alcohol and taking to abuse of different types of substances. Negative performance can also be a big factor, as I mentioned, and it leads to isolation. When you feel you are isolated because at the workplace you did not perform, others who performed were rewarded. At school you did not perform, others who performed moved to the next grades or got better grades and ended up going to the university. A type of isolation, you tend to feel you need to belong somewhere. That belonging is what leads to misuse of alcohol and substances. We also have early adult responsibilities. What do I mean by early adult responsibilities? Most of you have heard of this human immunodeficiency, or what is normally in short form referred to as HIV, AIDS. Now, it led to so many deaths in different parts of the world. I'll use just one example. You get a father has succumbed, a mother has succumbed. There were no safety nets to help the children continue with some form of income. So the eldest child, who is now the head of the household, ends up abusing alcohol, abusing substances, reason being that's what they're selling in order to be able to sustain the family. Sustaining them in terms of food, the very basic. Sustaining the family in terms of clothing. The family, these are the brothers and sisters to the eldest child, who ends up selling, probably it's opium they're selling, it is alcohol they're selling, whether illicit alcohol, we are talking of alcohol, and the income they get, they end up bringing it home in form of food and in form of clothes, in form of school fees. So the safety nets is an issue, and that's how one resorted to alcohol and drug abuse. So the vulnerability the person, the child got herself or himself in is what has made this would have been otherwise a pilot, a doctor, a teacher, to end up abusing alcohol and drugs. It's never lost. If we listen to them now, we can salvage the situation. We also have inadequate provision for adolescents in terms of activities. When many of them close school, they tend to be idle. It's not just about homework. They also need activities like sports. They need to go out for those sporting activities and other activities that can at least keep them positively as a group, not always negatively. When it's negative, that's when the alcohol comes in, and that's when the drugs come in. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget we have some stigma. Stigmatization is a big issue. You may be referring to somebody who has been in a mental health institution as X each time they talk, X mental institution. It becomes a stigmatization to that person who believes that they see me as a mad person. The society sees me as a mad person. It's not madness per se. It is that particular person trying their very best to internalize back into society after coming from a mental health institution. So if you look at this person as ex-mental health patient, then the person decides, I'm alone, isolates. And what else is the friend? Alcohol and substance misuse. So, ladies and gentlemen, how do we help those misusing alcohol and substances? There are many ways of helping them. One is by listening and sharing. Show the individual who is misusing alcohol that you are concerned. Just that concern alone will help the person actually stop. The person may reduce. Stopping is not always instant. And as you know, when you are stopping something, it's not like heating a solid to become a liquid. It's not like heating cooking fat and it becomes a liquid. It is not as instant. It is gradual, but as you listen to the person, that in itself shows a lot of support. And the person will end up actually improving, and finally he'll just be himself or herself. We need also to help in investing in medical attention. When one is abusing alcohol and substances, it affects many parts of the body, different organs. Now that different organs have been affected, the person needs medical attention in order for the hospital to help, in order for the doctor to help whatever is deteriorating in his body, because one part affects the other, and the person may even need good diet. It's only the doctor who can talk to the nutritionist. Then we also need to help the substance and alcohol abuser to seek counseling services. Counseling will help the person own the problem. He'll own the solution to his problem. But if we end up giving attention to other things and ignoring him, yet he needs counseling services, he'll not get to know he needs to own his problem and own a solution to that problem. A solution is withdrawal. If you take him to the counselor and the counseling sessions, they'll reach at least somewhere where they'll agree, for sure, I need to stop, or I need to reduce. And reduce towards stopping. Then set certain targets, performance targets of withdrawing from abusing alcohol, from misusing substances. It is a social responsibility we all need to look at. Let's embrace it as, at employer level, corporate social responsibility. Invest in helping your employees reduce abusing of alcohol and drugs. If you leave them to abuse alcohol and drugs, then their performance will continue deteriorating, and finally, you will not want to sustain a person who cannot add value to the workplace. You will terminate the person. The person will experience self-net issues and end up deteriorating further. Our country, we shall not have helped our different countries where we come from. We also need to train and retrain in performance so that an employee is not performing can be assisted to perform, and within those trainings we use that opportunity also to address the issue of alcohol and substances. For sure, the curriculum set for different trainings, but on top of that curriculum we can have something on alcohol and substance misuse throughout different management development courses, so that it's internalized as a culture at the workplace that we need to embrace. We also need to encourage team building so that it reduces stigma. You know, when employees see themselves as a team, they actually feel they own the corporate organization, they own the organization where the employer is. They'll see themselves as having shares in that particular company, and they'll work towards excelling in performance. Now, how do we balance diet for one recovering from alcohol and substance abuse? As you know, alcohol and substance abuse ends up being harmful to one's body. It's harmful to different organs like the heart, the stomach, amongst others. Now, once that is harmful to the body, then you end up with nutritional issues. Recall, I mentioned earlier, there are some substances which lead to overeating and somebody becomes obese. There are some where you lose appetite and you end up missing even the most essential vitamins that are required for the body, e.g. for formation of blood, so you end up being anemic. You end up missing what is vital to keep you energetic, so you cannot even go for sports. Now, those are some of the issues we have to look at in terms of diet when we are addressing for the person who is, as mentioned earlier, once nutrition is affected, then it has impact on different parts of the body. We have the mental and physical effect that can be short-term or long-term. Once the digestive system is affected, then the ability to receive nutrients required to sustain a healthy body get affected negatively. And I repeat, negatively. Some drugs, when misused, can lead to nausea, they can lead to vomiting, abdominal pains, constipation, and acid reflux, amongst other effects. So, we can't mention all that will come from this, but the truth is the person you are dealing with becomes a patient. Imagine somebody vomiting all the time. Somebody having nausea, cannot eat well. So what is the result? It has an effect all around our system. One will experience depression, low self-esteem. The person is not eating. The person comes drunk, sleeps on the sofa set instead of going to the bedroom. A bedroom that is having all facilities, but ends up in the sitting room, in the living room, in the dining room, cannot recall to go to bed. That person is in apathy, is in a state of confusion, and lacks interest in important roles as a parent or as a worker or as a student. And that's why we are here today. The countries are addressing the issues in different ways. To remove these substances, one needs vitamins, minerals, proteins, fat and fatty acids, carbohydrates, and water. It is important that the nutritionist and the doctor work together, because the doctor knows what the patient has been suffering from, what organs are most affected. The nutritionist will work with the doctor to come up with a diet plan that will help return the misuse of alcohol and substance abuse back to normal. The nutritionist will ensure you take the right carbohydrates in the right quantities and at the right time. The nutritionist will plan the protein and know how much proteins you need. They'll plan for water, how much water you need, and put it on that dietary plan that you are going to be taking on day-to-day basis. They'll know how much fats you need. If it's meat, does it need to be fatty or less fatty? So the nutritionist will not come up with that alone, but will come up with that plan if they work with the doctor. Such a program is essential to help in detoxification. the substances one has been taking have ended up in the body, and now we want to help the person who has been taking alcohol and substance abuse to get to remove this from the body. How do you remove? That process is called detoxification. And the nutritionist working with the doctor will help to purify that out of your body. As mentioned earlier, alcohol and substance abuse has an effect on the entire body because the body, one organ affects the other. So deficiencies in nutrition need to be replenished. And it's only the nutritionist who will ensure that a person has enough of vitamin A or vitamin C supplements or zinc, B complex, name it. The nutritionist will ensure you have enough water to drink because water is essential. They'll ensure you undertake some exercise. If they say that alcohol and substance abuser needs to exercise regularly, then they'll define what regular is. Is it for 30 minutes? Is it morning and evening? Is it morning and what other time? So such a program is very essential to help one recover from alcohol and substance misuse. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, it is a process. It's not instant. It's a process, not hitting cooking fat to a liquid fat. Caffeine and sugary things, craving for sugary things, should be discouraged because when someone is withdrawing from alcohol and substance abuse, they tend to crave for certain foods. And some of the foods, like so much craving for sugary things, e.g. cakes, chocolates, they may end up not being very healthy. So listening to the nutritionist, listening to the person misusing alcohol and substances will end up helping us quite. It's not just, oh, he ate a big chunk of chocolate cake. It is what is the value in the food the person ate. One is encouraged to take foods such as vegetables, grains, and low-fat meats. These are good for the body, and the nutritionist will be of good advice. Alcohol and substance interferes with the diet and general nutrition. It suppresses appetite. One has poor feeding habits, and prioritization is on the drug that one uses. Malnourishment may occur in those who are misusing alcohol and substances. When one is malnourished, then other diseases set in. So it is important to look at that particular nutrition plan that will help the person who has been misusing alcohol and the person who has been misusing substances recover. The immunity may get compromised depending on the substance one has been misusing, e.g. drugs, when they're not taken well, hard stuff, when they're taken, they have an impact on the body. Alcohol, it has an impact on the body. So subject to what one is using, actually they can get malnourished. Organs may get compromised, and some of the organs which end up being damaged can be, for example, the liver, the stomach lining, the pancreas, and intestines, all of which are vital in digestion and absorption and storage of foods. Now, if you can't absorb, for example, what is important in formation of vitamin B complex, then you will be anemic because vitamin B12 is essential in formation of red blood cells. So if you don't have vitamin B12 being formed because your stomach lining has been affected by your misusing of alcohol and other substances, then you end up being anemic. It is as simple as that. So let us listen to the person abusing alcohol. Let us listen to the person abusing substances. The person will feel loved and appreciated. Once the person feels loved and appreciated, he starts stopping abusing alcohol and substances. Remember, if it is at the workplace, the productivity of the person will increase. Once productivity increases, it has an impact on efficiency, it has an impact on effectiveness. Productivity will be on time and it will be correctly undertaken. No damages to the products. So we end up being effective, we end up being efficient, and as a result of minimal complaints from the customers, we end up with better income. So the former drug abuser, former substance abuser ends up now being the productive person at the workplace. And that is for sure a benefit. Remember, it has come because you have listened to him, you have shown love, and you have embraced the situation and cancelled. And now he's getting to own the solution and is working hard to get out of his situation. The person will end up being a team. There's nothing as good as having a workforce that is a team. If it is students, they'll end up discussing. The weaker students will not repeat his mistakes because he's listening to those students who are excelling in performance. As a result, the performance of that weak student will appreciate positively and he'll get to tackle some of the formulae, some of the things he could not understand alone. But now, teamwork, he feels he's part of the discussion group on a certain subjects, so he gets to learn from others, child-to-child centered learning. The employees will increase in terms of satisfaction at the workplace. Increase in satisfaction leads to better productivity, and the former substance and alcohol abuser is one of those whose job satisfaction will have increased. More money will be made, and once productivity skyrockets, then your bank statement as the employer improves. In terms of revenue, you will realize more revenue is being collected. Personal growth at school and the workplace will be realized. The report card for the student will be better, and at the workplace, the performance appraisal of the employee using different methods of appraisal will be quite good. There'll be less stress to the parent because when the person is misusing alcohol and substances, you, the mother, father, sister, brother, and relative, all those in that particular household, you are affected. So you are stressed by the situation of one of you. And remember, that situation can end up influencing others. When you listen and check on that situation in good time, you'll end up helping many who may be seeing you as the best couple, as the best household that has brought up a better family. Once you listen, recovery is easier, you'll save money. The budgets that were being made in terms of counseling programs, hostel programs will reduce. That will be a better life for you, isn't it? Those who are listening to me, I think we shall be on track. Former alcohol and drug misusers can be future counselors. These are people who are positive in society. Only if you listen to them and embrace their situation and put in place interventions that will help the person walk out of that behavior. They can end up being the ambassadors of different areas. Ambassadors to those who want to attempt to drug abuse. Ambassadors for those who have not had health complications. They'll tell them, when I was doing this, my health deteriorated, I suffered like this. It was such a setback. I did not invest. Such are the words we need to motivate others, and particularly would-be potential persons who could be influenced to start taking alcohol or start abusing drugs. You know, we are saying excessive misuse of alcohol and excessive misuse of substances is what we're talking about. So I'm not saying alcohol is bad. I'm only saying excessive taking of alcohol in a misusing manner, excessive abuse of substances will end up ruining ourselves, our bodies, and different organs. And they lead to death, as I mentioned earlier about the effects. Now, there's better security at home. There's better security at the workplace as a result of you having listened to the person who was abusing alcohol and drugs. So those are some of the benefits that we end up with. Lesser visits to hospital, lesser visits to the counselor, impact on many out of their shadow, and they own their problem and solution. So they end up being the managers of the solution that is supposed to help them. And that is a positive. Because in counseling, we always emphasize on you owning a solution to your problem. So if my problem is so much misuse of alcohol, misuse of substances, and I've been counseled and I've for sure known if I start reducing and eventually stopping, then that will be positive. Will I not have owned the solution? Members present, will I not have owned the solution? If the answer is yes, from the way I see most of you nodding, then for sure the person will end up being a better person in society, a productive person in society, and there'll be less stress to the parent, there'll be less stress to those around the person, e.g. at the workplace. Now, how do we move forward with the person who has been abusing alcohol and drugs? Listen to the suspected alcohol and substance misuser to prevent further sinking into oblivion. Listen to detect alcohol and substance misuse in time. Listen to deal with the problem in good time and before long, because the person may be so much sunken into alcohol by the time you want to intervene. Harmonize your way or his way for better participatory ownership to the problem and the solution. Work towards improved health and overall wellness of the alcohol and substance abuser. Remember, it has to be total wellness. If as a result of abusing alcohol and substances, you have heart problems, you are not well. Once your heart is not working, you will end up with lung issues, you will end up with swollen feet, and that has an impact on you. You need to review and put in place, employers who are here, a workplace policy and procedures handbook or manual that will help employees know we have a policy on alcohol and substance misuse. And once that is done, we shall end up with a better society, whether they can work from home, whether they can work by going physically to the workplace, but they'll be going to the workplace for productivity and not for sipping alcohol or other drugs. It is important to provide links. We have websites that have information on alcohol misuse, its effects. We have links on substances misuse and its effects. Provide links to such employees and potential employees at the workplace freely so that they can be able to look at them. Capacity build employees and young adults in alcohol and substance misuse, prevention and interventions. Train in stress management all employees, and this should not leave out parents. We are the parents to the students who are misusing alcohol and substances. So schools, you can organize for talks, you can organize for links for those who are in education and different institutions of learning, so that our parents can come and once they have a get together at school, they can also carry away links on alcohol and substance abuse and how to manage. Go through parenting programs that help wellness. Understand recovery is a cycle. It is not instant to recover or to stop abusing alcohol. We start by withdrawing in smaller doses until one eventually stops. It starts by 1 day, soon it will be 30 days, next it will be 100 days, alcohol free. And the person actually ends up being free of those substances they're abusing and of the drinks they're abusing. Understand it is a world problem. Alcohol and substance abuse is a world problem. It has costed many employers billions in lost productivity, billions in trying to rehabilitate employees, billions in trying to put in place new machines and systems, in hiring other employees because you have terminated those who cannot change. And parents end up spending a lot of money in rehabilitation institutions because today they go, then they revert back, they go, then they revert back, and it's money each time. You send them to a counselor, it's money. Remember, we also have referral places. One may be contemplating suicide. If you notice that, you also need to refer the... So as we end up spending the different amounts of money because of alcohol and substance misuse, we end up being stressed. And parents, those who are present here today, your sister, your brother who is abusing alcohol and substances ends up making you stressed. Today you are flying to join the family to talk to him. Tomorrow you are flying to join him to see him in hospital because all is not well. Tomorrow you are making a phone call and many other related activities. They end up stressing you to a level that you might even stop doing what is productive to earn you income towards your retirement and resort to taking care of an adult who is your son, who is your brother, your husband at home because of misuse of alcohol and substances. If we listen, that is everything. The beginning and the end. We shall end up arresting the situation in time. And that marks the end of our video. If you liked it, I ask you to please press the like button, press the share button, press the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Next, we shall have a video on diet for the person misusing alcohol and drugs. Thank you for listening.